personalities today might come from Instagram, Vine, maybe even YouTube. And I have one of the most favorite YouTube personalities here with me today, Mr. Kid Fury himself.
Hey, Kristen, how are you?
Hey, boo. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. You're looking better.
Thank you very much.
Faces together. Hair.
Can I call this slay?
You should call it, slay is appropriate, but you can say you stormed. Or you can say, you're eating. Like, I ate that.
Wait a minute.
Or she ate that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, eating. Now, what does that mean when I'm eating?
So just imagine, what you're eating, essentially, are people's, feelings, pride, people's love for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you ate that. As if you just kind of, came in and you ate everyone's, love for themselves because you are clearly the baddest in the room.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That is why you're here. And I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you.
And that we are storming together.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
You are storming. You are eating. Seriously, I'm so fascinated, one, by you and your rise and what I like to call really a grassroots type of explosion.
It's all been very organic. I didn't, expect for a lot of this to happen. Social media has been really great for helping push a lot of that in the right directions, like YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, SoundCloud, all of these things. I never really expected any of it again, but it just kind of happened and I'm excited.
Where did Kid Fury come from?
I had a blog I started in 2006 and it was called The Fury. And I think I was 18 years old, 17. And I think I called it that because I wanted it to be just fiery and snarky
and you have a whole new person. I mean, not new person, this is who you are, but there's this whole person is Kid Fury.
It's like an alter ego, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Because
okay.
I won't even remember this when we're done. Whenever I'm in Kid Fury mode, I black out. Kid Fury and Greg don't even know each other.
Okay, so is that anything like Beyonce and Sasha Fierce?
I'd like to think so. Anything that brings me closer to, the spirit and the ways of Beyonce, it just reminds me that I'm on the right path career-wise. So, if Beyonce has an alter ego, so do I.
Where does your love for B come from?
Besides the fact that she's just a really great artist, I feel like she works really, really, really hard and she minds her damn business. That's my favorite thing about her. You don't ever hear her bad-mouthing anybody.
Yep.
You don't hear her, telling you what she had for lunch and, what positions are her favorite. She's just my business is my business.
Yeah.
And I came here to entertain y'all and I'm great at it and now I'm going home. And I love that. So... yeah.
And that is admirable.
Yeah.
And that's you. Would you say that's you? You are a hard worker, clearly. Yeah, you keep it moving.
I could do more, for sure. But I'm definitely not sitting at home chilling.
No. So what are some of the things that you're working on?
Still doing the YouTube videos I've been doing. I'm trying to do that more often now that I have my own place and space to be creative. And I'm doing new shows on the YouTube. I just started a show called Green Experiment with my friends. And I'm going to do a show based on video games and things. I'm writing scripts, still doing the podcast, The Read, we're touring.
Tell people what The Read is.
So The Read is it was my first big endeavor in New York. Because when I moved to New York City, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I just knew that it was the place I needed to be.
Yeah.
So I came to New York and a friend of mine was doing a podcast on loudspeakers. Loudspeakers wasn't even loudspeakers at the time. It was just these really cool creative people in radio who were doing podcasts. And they asked me if I was interested. And I was like, girl, I don't even know what a podcast is. But if y'all want me to come in here and just talk trash about Carrie Hilson or whatever for an hour,
I can't
I'll do it. And I'll just whatever you want to do, but I won't do it by myself. And so my friend Crystal, who was part of the huge, she really put the fire underneath me to move. I asked her to do it with me, and we've been doing it for 2 years. And it's just conversations about pop culture, advice for like listeners, and then we have the read segment, which is like a read is it's like a gay term for when you let someone know the truth. You bring people back to reality. So it can be something as like awful as saying your hair is really dry and you need to do something about that because you look a mess, or it can be like, you know, those shoes aren't real Louboutins. So like, you just, anytime where you like snap somebody back and you kind of get them together, that's what a read is.
Y'all got some funny stuff. And it has become really wildly successful. YouTube, maybe your immediate friends, to now, is it over 100,000 subscribers?
Yeah, something like that.
How did
50.
that happen? Take me through that.
Like, I don't like to look at numbers because I feel like it does something to your spirit where you just, it can either go left or right. You can be like really inspired by it or depressed depending on what the numbers are. I don't know. I do think though that word of mouth really helped me a lot. I think that there have been so many people that have been like, oh, my friend put me onto you, or my girlfriend, wife, husband, coworker, anybody. Like almost always someone tells me that someone else told them about me, which is really cool. So I think that a big part of the growth in the numbers has been people sharing it with their friends and family.
Wow.
Which is why I tell a lot of people when they ask, you know, like, you know, I'm starting a podcast or a YouTube channel and stuff, and like, what do I need to do? Or, you know, how do I get more eyes on this? And I tell them just be yourself and be authentic and give it time because, you know, I started my blog in 2006.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I started YouTube, I think it's 2009, and I just moved to New York in 2012.
So for anybody who wants, this is no overnight
it's not
success.
instant.
Yeah.
You know, you have to like, because I love what I do, I think is why I've been doing it for so long. And a lot of people do these things because they want to be, you know, famous, or they want money, or they want to do whatever. And that will stop you because after like a year or 2 years of you not getting where you want to be, you're probably going to be like, okay, I'm going to go do something else. But you have to, I mean, some people probably blow up overnight. It's happened a million times. But for me, it was a long process of me just trying very, very hard. And I think, luckily it, you know, people can relate to it and they just tell their friends, and yeah.
It's funny that word of mouth is still that powerful.
It's the best marketing, promotional, whatever tool you can have. It's free and it's reliable. It is.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything, and it's the most reliable because if your friend tells you about a tea versus you seeing it on TV, who you gonna trust more? Your friend.
Right, absolutely.
So yeah, it's the best. I would just tell them, you know, have fun, enjoy it, and be true to yourself. And if you want to, you know, have this blow up situation or whatever they like to call it, be patient. Because it may be tomorrow, it may be 2 years from now. Like, God has different journeys, obstacles, lanes, and everything for different people, regardless of whether or not we're in the same field or occupation.
Yeah.
We all have different crosses to bear, if you will. So you can't really look at someone else and be like, this is what I want, and I'm going to emulate my journey after them. You have to build your own.
Complete this sentence for me. Kid Fury is...
Kid Fury is really upset that Bluebell is no longer in grocery stores. So, you know, Bluebell is just such a delicious ice cream, and they don't have it in New York. So I just gave up on ice cream altogether. I just decided that if I can't have Bluebell, I'm just not going to eat ice cream.
So you are just ice cream free now because Bluebell...
I mean, first they didn't have it in New York City, but now it's, you know...
With the recall.
Listeria and killing people. And so now it's just... I've seen pictures of them throwing it in dumpsters. It's still got the frost on the outside.
What has that done to your heart?
It's really broken my spirit. You know, I've just asked for, you know, respect in this time of mourning. Personally, you know, no disrespect, but if Bluebell killed me, I can't think of any other way to go. Like, I would die with a smile on my face. If God gave me an option, I would be like, let it be the Bluebell Jesus. Like, let me just die like that.
I cannot sit here and talk with you about your death. We are so happy that you are here.
Thank
you have promised to stay with us, and we're going to continue this conversation. Kind of shift a bit to who are the new content creators.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm looking at the next wave of content creators.
Thank you.
So thank you for being with us, Kid Fury.
Thank you for having me. Of course, I have a good time.
I am so happy to get this conversation back and jumping. We are talking about who the new content creators are today. And we have one of the best who's back with us, Kid Fury. He knows we love his content.
Thank you. I love your content.
Thank you. And an expert in this conversation is television marketing executive Tatiana Holifield. So let's dive right in, you guys. Tatiana, Kid Fury. A wonderful, in my opinion, grassroots YouTube superstar. And there are so many people who would either like to know how he did what he did or how to duplicate it. How does a television network look at a Kid Fury and say, that's exactly what we want. We want him. How does that happen?
Well, I think the conversation first starts with who are content creators. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, people who created content were TV producers, film producers. They were musicians. They were artists. They were newspaper journalists. They were people who were skilled at their profession, who were educated in order to know how to tell a story. Nowadays, with the help of YouTube and other platforms, anyone can be a content creator. There are a lot of emerging talent that is happening now as a result of this platform and being able to have that ability to edit your own videos and to publish them and put them out for the world to see. For example, Michelle Phan is a huge makeup artist who is huge in the YouTube space, and she actually just started her own network called Icon, and it will be a full news lifestyle network with the help of Endemol Shine Group, which is a content creation and distribution platform. Mm-hmm. So there is the ability nowadays for a lot of emerging artists and talent to get their story out there.
So Kid Fury, is that something that you thought about like early on, like this could take me to television deals and bigger mass media?
I think so. I started it and I said, I'm going to see where it takes me. Mm-hmm. I've always known I wanted to break into television and film and all of these other avenues. And there were a lot of people on YouTube, whether it's makeup or comedy or do-it-yourself stuff, whatever, they find hobbies or things they're really passionate about, and it ends up turning into a whole empire. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it is the authenticity and drive that takes it to that next place. So for me, it was just kind of I really want to entertain and make people laugh, and so we'll see what happens.
What does it mean for Kid Fury to have his own audience? Because now it's when networks acquire you, they acquire all of what comes with him.
Absolutely. That's totally what happens. While the traditional way of casting for a TV show or a movie or a film, it still happens. I mean, you have people like Tyler Perry who are still going after those, unheard of talents. But a lot of networks and film companies and everything else nowadays are looking for people who have their own following, because for them, it means a built-in audience. It means built-in eyeballs. So yes, they are looking for those YouTube sensations, those Vine sensations, and those people who can bring that loyal cult fan base to their movie, to their film, to their TV show. The advertising world has now taken a look at that. Mm. And so there are a lot of companies that are really honing in on that ability to get their product out to the mass and to the millions of people. For example, there is a campaign that Viacom Velocity did. They partnered with Pepsi as a sponsor for the VMAs last year. Yeah. And they actually used a social influencer. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with social influencers, but basically it's people like Kid Fury. Mm-hmm. It's those people who have these huge followings that they are calling social influencers, and they are taking them and using them to push that product out to the next level.
That's a huge partnership. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of out the box and a bit unorthodox for, I guess, what you would have thought partnerships would have been back in the day. Fury, do you know that you're a social influencer?
I do think that I have a lot of the things I say have impact. And I think that it's because people social media stars I think they're referred to as influencers because people look at us as their friends. And I also don't like plug things or promote things that I don't use or believe in. And I think that people know that as well. So if someone like myself endorses it because it's different than Drake drinking a soda.
How profitable is content creation?
Ad companies, like, these people are willing to throw ridiculous amounts of money at you because they know that they'll get a return on their investment and that kind of thing. But like the first time I saw a couple of those checks, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh, this is for me. Oh, for me. Yeah, it's cool.
Wow. And that's like what we were talking about, the business side, because I mean, you know, Fury started YouTube. And now it's like, it's a business. Like, you can sustain your life off of this.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been in meetings and I've heard like a lot of these groups that will discuss a lot of the stuff that they see happening on social media and how to transform that into something big and lucrative. And sometimes they just don't really know how to, or they can't figure it out right then and there. But almost all of the stuff on social media right now is, yeah, they've got eyes on it.
A lot of times, institutions like media will find themselves behind and trying to play catch up. And social media influencers, the Viners, the YouTubers, it seems like they've gotten ahead of the curve. And now everyone has to play catch up and try to figure out, who are you?
Well, I think the internet has forced TV networks and companies to get it into that space and to move as fast as they are with it.
Who's more powerful, Fury or the network?
I would say the network is more powerful just because I feel like they call the shots. And I think that there are a lot of content creators that are very powerful and very influential. I think that the network, if that's where you want to be, just has the power to amplify that.
I disagree. I actually think it's your audience. They're ultimately who's in control. They are the ones who are buying the cable packages or not. They are the ones who are liking you on Facebook or not. They are the ones who are following you on Twitter and Vine and Instagram and everything else. So I think ultimately all of us consumers, the people who have cell phones and TVs and everything else, we are ultimately in control of that because we spend the money. And if we don't spend the money to watch their programming, then the networks won't have the power to do what they do.
A lot of people are consumers, but they don't know that they have that power. You know, we just consume because that's all we know how to do. And the shepherds are the ones that get you in the place that they need to be.
That's such a good analogy. I've often shifted my mindset some years ago to think that you must produce more than you consume. If you ever want to be in the driver's seat, you've got to be a producer and not just a consumer. So the last thing that we like to do is a speed round. So the speed round is, I'm going to give you guys a word or a phrase, and you are just going to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind, and you're going to keep going until I say stop.
Okay. That's fun.
Okay, creator.
Kid Fury.
God.
Oh, she took it. Jesus. She took a real good one.
Storyteller.
Beyonce.
We'll end there.
We'll
end there.
Boom.
Done. Tatiana, Fury, thank you so much for being a part of this
Thank
conversation. The power that we have together, it's like it just intersects right here. It's exciting to watch you go from here to there to wherever it is that you're going, everywhere, and have a wonderful career.
Thank you.
Tatiana, thank you so much for filling us in and giving us that piece of information.
Absolutely. And we just have to keep that conversation going. That's what social media is for. So keep it going on Twitter, hashtag the
Positive Controversy,
and tag @Fury, and let's keep talking about it.
Fantastic. We hope that if you are a content contributor or want to be, that this helps you.